Well, I went down to the hardware store to see my old friend Bob. I said my roof it leaks, my rug's a mess, and my front door needs a new knob. I got squirrels in my attic, I got bats in my head. Well, Bob just leaned over the counter and he shook his head and said, "You need home repairs and solutions. Home repairs and solutions. They'll fix your windows, they'll fix your house, they'll even tell you how to get rid of a mouse. Home repairs and solutions."
It's time for the Home Repairs and Solutions program, brought to you by Spring Mountain Air. Our host of the show, Mary Pearson. How are you this morning, Mary?
I'm good. How are you?
We are doing just fine.
Good. And Mark's with us again today.
Yes, I am.
So we're glad to have Mark back with us on a regular basis again.
Every week.
Every week.
Except one.
Except one.
Yeah,
That's true.
That's coming up, but there's a chance you might be gone a week too.
I might be. As a matter of fact,
Yeah.
my husband and I might actually take a vacation for the first time in 7 years.
Wow.
So I'm
It's
excited.
Well deserved.
But of course, where we were going to go, that's where the tornado's headed. So we might just stay here.
It'll be gone
We're
and
not
past
sure.
by then. So.
We'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
We'll see how that goes. Well, thanks for being with us today, everyone. We hope you're having a great day. Our number here is 862-9977 or 1-800-375-0056. And today we have Ron Hartman with us with RE/MAX. He's been on our show before.
Yep. Thank you for having me again.
So welcome back. He is a realtor here in Springfield, can give you all kinds of great information about what's going on in the housing market if you want to buy a house, sell a house. What else do you do with the house? You buy them and you sell them, I guess.
Buy them, you sell them.
Fix
if you
them
want
up.
to be an investor, you can rent them out and flip them. We
There
can
you
help you
go.
out with all of that.
Lots of opportunities right now, and this is still a really good market, particularly if you're looking to purchase.
Definitely. With the combination of, I think I said this every time I've been on the show, but with a combination of interest rates being low and the home prices still being low, it really is a good time to purchase, even if you're a first-time home buyer just looking to find your first home or wanting to get into investing. Either way, it's a good market to be in.
Well, I know a lady that we know just bought a home. Actually, they bought a home from Mark yesterday.
That's right.
Oh, there you go.
And
did,
I was
yeah.
talking to her about it, and she said that it's actually cheaper than where she's paying rent, and it's bigger.
Yeah.
So if you're out there, if you've been renting for a while, and if you're not for sure if you want to get back in the home ownership market, it is very possible to do that with not any more money you're paying for rent, sometimes less
That's right.
than you're paying for rent.
That's true.
I didn't realize rent had gotten so high until I started talking to a few people that had been renting, and I was kind of surprised at some of the rental prices they were paying for some of the homes.
Right. You know, we have, and I say we, I'm talking about, of course, I work for the head broker at RE/MAX, Dan Clark, and we also have a construction company, and we have a rental company. And we have, 100 plus units that we rent. And, you know, we go from anywhere from the $350 a month plumb up to $1,500 a month.
Sure.
But to get in a nice place, you're going to pay a pretty good premium we call them executive rentals
Yeah.
in the business a lot.
Sure.
But yeah, you can pay more in rent than what you can, and of course it's going to depend on your credit. You got to have. She had excellent credit.
Yes.
And that's a factor on getting that good
It
interest
is.
rate. And
It
Ron
makes a
can probably
big
tell you
difference,
more
yeah.
about that than anybody. But sometimes we have to rent. Sometimes we have no choice.
That's
bad
correct. Sure.
bad things happen to all of us.
Sure.
And sometimes we're put into that box where we have to rent. We have no choice. But I tell you what, if you can buy, and you have good credit score, the way the interest rates are right now, yeah, you could probably get in a place. Time you figure your taxes and insurance in, you're probably just about as cheap as what you're paying rent.
If not quite a bit cheaper. Just to give a quick example, my family has some rental property as well, and for about a 1,250 square foot, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 2-car garage on the south side of town, we're getting about $750 for rent. Our payment on that's about $430. So there's a pretty big difference in what the rental market is compared to what the buyer's market is for a house.
Sure. The only difference I can think of is if you're renting, typically you're not responsible for maintenance or anything like that. Now, if you're a homeowner, then you are responsible for your own maintenance and that type of thing. That would be the one thing that'd be different. But still, to own over renting, if that's what you desire to do, and if you have the opportunity to do that, it's still a much better use of your money.
Definitely so. And for those renters that say for that exact reason they don't want to have to pay for that maintenance on a house, that's why they're deciding to rent. Well, they're paying for it. They're paying for it every
Yes,
month
they are.
when they write
Yeah,
that monthly
are.
check. And
Sure.
they don't have to come up with that money if the furnace goes out or something like that. They don't have to come up with it all right away, but they're paying for it in the long run either way.
Oh, sure. And sometimes, some people just want the convenience of, well, if something happens, I'm just going to call my landlord and I don't have to worry about it. Then it's their responsibility. That's true.
Yeah,
and that is true.
For a lot of people,
But-
that can be a very convenient way. And considering my family has rental property, I'm glad some people think that way.
Well, and it depends on your lifestyle, what you want to do.
Yep.
Yeah.
Some people work 2 jobs. A lot of people work 2 jobs now. Some people are working and going to school. So, maybe home ownership for them right now isn't the best idea, but
Right.
in the future, it's something they can look at.
And it also, like you said about their lifestyle, it really just kind of depends. Even in a good real estate market where houses are gaining value every year, if you're not planning on staying in a place more than 3 to 5 years, you're going to be lucky to break even when you sell that
Right.
house. So you might as well rent if you're only going to be there short term.
Short term, yeah, that's
What do
correct.
what's our average? We say now that a person stays in a home 7 years. I mean, that's what we used to always
It's
say.
5 to 7. I've heard
Yeah.
both figures, but yeah.
Yeah, and so a lot of times, no, you're right. It's not economical to own a home if you're going to just be there for a short time. There is so many. It's especially if you're halfway handy and can do some stuff. There's some really good deals. Me and you go out every now and then, and we'll look at houses
Yep.
that's been foreclosed on or bank repos, and there's some really good deals that you could get in cheap. Do some of the labor yourself.
Oh,
3 or 4
definitely.
years, you live there, you could probably sell it and make a profit.
Yeah.
But if you're just going out and buying a new house that's already done, move into it, thinking you're going to make a profit off of it,
That's not gonna
2 or
happen.
3 years.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
Yeah,
It's not
that's a
gonna
good
happen.
point.
Is it a good idea if someone, say they have an existing home that maybe is paid for or almost paid for, but they would like to maybe purchase a newer home or maybe a bigger home? Is it a better idea, instead of them selling that home and maybe not getting as much as they would in a better market, to actually turn it into a rental and get the rental income off of it, and then go ahead and purchase their other home, and then they could wait for the market to rebound, or what? Because I know that there's some folks out there, we've talked to a few of them, it's like, they can't decide if they want to keep their existing one and turn it into a rental, or, what kind of advice would you give, since you have rental property? What are they looking at if they decide to do something like that?
If it really kind of depends on the person, I guess, is the best way to answer that. Being a landlord is not for everybody. If you're going to take it real personal when somebody comes in there and when they move out, and by all means, we've had some great renters that have taken great care of our property, so not all renters are this way, but a lot of times you have to go in and repaint and replace carpet, and if you're going to take that personal that these people aren't taking care of your house, then maybe being a landlord is not for you. You have to look at it as a business move, and replacing the carpet and repainting is just a cost of doing that business. For me personally, the house I currently live in, I'll never sell. Once I eventually buy another home, I'll keep that one as a rental.
Okay.
Because that's just, to me, it makes sense. It makes me mad if somebody tears up one of our houses, but it's part of business. You just can't take it personal. But yeah, to me, if somebody has a house that's paid off or getting really close to pay off, so they would cash flow quite a bit on that rental, they could just take that money, and if they have to get a loan for their house they're going to buy, they could just take that money, and that could be making their payment for them. So to me, it's a really good idea, and that's what I would do. But again, it's going to be a person-by-person basis, and because it's just not for everybody putting up with being a landlord. I mean, for the most part, when you have good tenants, it's the easiest way to make money in the world, because you just collect your check once a month. But when you get tenants in there that don't take care of it or don't pay on time, it can be real stressful too. Wouldn't you say?
Oh yeah, absolutely. When we put people in our rentals, we really try to screen them and make sure they're good. But you can't. I mean, you can.
There's only so much you can do on background
exactly.
checks.
And like you say, you got to really want to be a landlord. A lot of people aren't geared for that.
Yeah.
Because when you get a call in the middle of the night that somebody's furnace is not working, or
That's when you call
toilet
Spring Mountain
stools
Air.
black
There you
box.
go.
Yeah, you call Spring Mountain Air. Or when their toilets are backed up and overflowing, and they call you, and you discover that one of the kids shoved a dad's cell phone down in the stool. It kind of irritates you a little bit, but you just have to stop and say, hey, this is a business. This is just the way it is.
Yep.
And another thing that a lot of folks don't realize is they rent their property out, and they do like you say. They take that rent money and they put it towards their house payment or whatever. Comes time when that house does need repairs, whoops, there's no money there to do those repairs. Oh, the roof's leaking. We got to put a new roof on.
Very good point.
Where are we going to get $5,000 or $6,000 for that? So you got to be smart. You got to know your percentage money that you need to put back each month to make those repairs. It's going to happen.
Yeah, that's a good point, and I'm glad Mark brought that up, because you do that extra money, that's whether you have a payment on it and it's what you're cash flowing, or if the house is paid off and it's just the money you're getting in rent for that property. That's not just all pocket money. You do have a cost of doing business and for repairs and stuff like that. And on our properties, we try to keep about $100 for each house a month to the side. And then once you get a certain amount of money build up, you can cut that back down a little bit, but you definitely need to have that cushion for a roof, furnace, whatever kind of maintenance you might have to do to the home.
Yeah. Always issues that come up, and you got to be taken care of.
Just like it would if you were still living in it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You're going to have, things are going to wrong. Things don't last forever.
Yeah, but now you only don't have to worry about the house that you're living in. You got to worry about the house that you're renting out.
Someone else is living in.
Yeah. And so, yeah.
But aren't there some really good tax credits or tax deductions or whatever for rental property? Isn't that a pretty good, if you're in a higher tax bracket, is that not a pretty good idea?
If you have a loan on the property, you can you don't have to pay taxes on your interest portion, just like it would be your personal home.
Okay.
And then on any repairs that you have, you keep those receipts as far as if you have a handyman hired, or just if you do it yourself, just keep all your receipts and everything. And yeah, that can be tax deductible as far as the maintenance that you have to do on the home.
So that kind of offsets the income, and
it does a little bit. I mean, it helps when you don't have to pay taxes on the maintenance part of it. The money you have to spend on maintenance, you don't have to pay taxes on that, but you still got to pay for that maintenance. So it doesn't make that maintenance free, but it does help with the cost of it.
Sure. So that's something that that's where we recommend someone goes and sees their CPA.
Yep.
To make sure, because
Absolutely.
laws and regulations and rules are changing all the time. So you got to find a professional who does that every single day to keep up with all that stuff.
That's right.
Yeah.
So if you own a small business out there, you know what we're talking about. It's getting more and more regulation every day. It's harder to keep up with all that stuff.
Yep.
But
That's true. It is.
Harder and almost impossible.
pretty much impossible at this point. So, yeah.
Yep, that's for sure.
But there's lots of people that can help.
Yes, definitely there.
Yep. 862-9977, 1-800-375-0056 is our number. Give us a call. We'd love to hear from you. Free call for no matter where you are.
It's a free call.
Free call. So if you got a question for Ron, myself, Mary, just whatever you want to talk about, that's what we're going to do.
That's right.
That's why we're here.
We're just kind of a free Friday. Free Friday. You
Free
can just
Friday.
call and talk about anything you want to.
That's right.
So
I
having
thought my
some good
lunch was
weather.
going to be free when you said Free Friday.
I don't know. Is his lunch free today, Mark? Are you buying?
Well, let's don't even go there.
We'll have to talk about that after the show.
Oh, okay.
After
We
the
can
show,
do that.
Ron.
We can
Yeah.
do that.
Yeah, no doubt after the show. So, something else, a person, if they own a home and they think they want to rent it out, and it's still financed,
Yep.
and they need to check with their lender and make sure. There's a lot of times a lender will not allow you to rent that property out.
You might, depending on what type of loan you have on the home. If you got that loan as an owner-occupant, then the lender who owns that loan is going to expect you to own it as an owner-occupant. And if you do decide you want to rent it out, they may want you to refinance it as an investment property versus
Right.
an owner-occupant property.
Yeah.
So that's also
Yeah.
another good point, because loan fraud is not something people want to really mess with.
No, I wouldn't think so.
No, absolutely not. And I've run into a lot of people that'll say, "We're going to buy this house. My daughter needs a house. She's going to go to college here in town. We're gonna go get a loan on this house because interest rates are 3 3/4 or whatever." And they get there and talk to them, and they find out that they're going to pay more, and they want to know why. Well, because you're getting the loan, but you don't occupy this property.
Exactly.
It has to be owner occupied in order for you to get this good interest rate. And so that's a lot of people.
The advertised interest rates are generally ones with good credit and owner occupants.
Yeah.
They still do have some pretty good competitive interest rates for investors.
Sure.
But
Yeah.
they're not going to be as low as the owner occupant ones.
Yep, that's right. So that's something to definitely check into before you decide to make that offer on that investment property.
Definitely so.
Yeah. So I believe we got a caller holding on. We got Karen. Go ahead, Karen.
Yeah, I have a brother-in-law who works for a prominent home builder out in Arizona, and he made a comment to my husband's brother that he believed the home prices were going to go up 35% in March of this next year. And I wasn't sure what you guys' feelings were on that, and also I'd almost like to talk to him and ask him if he's considered the debt crisis going on in Europe, because if the banks fell there and we continue to bail them out, or our banks crash, I mean, I think that would throw a cog into the whole thing. So I wasn't sure what you guys' opinion was on that.
Well, my opinion, as far as the housing going up, what'd you say, 35%?
If that's the case, I'm moving to Arizona.
Yeah, really. I don't foresee that happening here. I think the price of housing will start inching back up, but I don't think it's going to be nothing like that, and I don't think it's going to be that soon.
We're going to be real lucky, and this is just my opinion, we're going to be really lucky in the next few years to see 1% to 2% appreciation, if that. I personally think that we're at the bottom. We've been at the bottom for a little bit, and I think we're going to kind of hang out here for a little bit longer until things start to move a little bit more and we get some more inventory going.
I have one more question for you. Since the housing crisis started, the last information I got was that the Missouri houses have went down approximately 18%. Is that still standing, or where are we at when it comes to what we lost compared to what it was prior to the housing crisis?
I think it's going to kind of depend on what price range the homes are in. The higher priced homes, I think, have lost a little bit higher percentage of that, and then the lower priced homes probably haven't lost quite that highest percentage. But on a whole, I would say that 18% is probably pretty fair to say when you look at all price ranges of home as an average.
Yeah.
Because I own a home, and a lot of times I'm thinking, okay, how much money do I really want to put into this? Because if I want to move, you don't want to put a bunch of money into it that you're just going to lose anyway. And then usually what I take into account when I do put money into my home is, would everyone like it? Because I never know if I'm going to own it for very long.
Right.
And also I take into account the area surrounding me, how much those houses are going for, and there's other things that I look at. You don't want to. I usually try and do spend the least amount of money to get the biggest bang for my buck.
That's a smart way to do it.
In other words, I'm not outlandish with my spending.
Yeah. No, it sounds like you've kind of got the right mindset about it as far as doing maintenance and updates to your home. And unfortunately, and I think we've talked about this on the show a few times, a lot of the maintenance money that you spend in your home, you don't necessarily get that back when you sell. I mean, those are just things that it's maintenance that you have to do for a home, and it might not add value.
Yes.
And
it's kind of like buying a car. Once you drive it for 3 years, you're not going to get the same price for it. It's just money that you had to repair it so that you could continue to drive.
Exactly. And as far as like upgrades to your home, you did mention you want to kind of keep in a line with what your neighborhood is doing. You don't want to over-update for the neighborhood. And we always tell our clients that are doing the updates that it's real important to do the updates because you're going to get that enjoyment out of them. Not because you necessarily think you'll get more money out of it, but do the updates because you want to and you'll enjoy those updates.
And one more thing, for those who are renting and say they don't want to pay for the repairs, and that's why they're renting, there is rental insurance. But the problem is when people go into home buying, they buy the biggest house they can afford, and they usually end up with a top end. And then the top end as much money as they can spend. And so basically they don't have anything left over for something like that. But if you're going to be out there buying the home, take that into consideration and buy the home insurance where you would have your washer, your dryer, your air conditioning fixed.
That's right.
Yep.
Good point.
So,
very good
all right,
point.
well, listen, I'll let you guys go, and I'll continue listening. Hopefully we'll get some more questions out there that I'm interested in.
Well, thank you, Karen. Appreciate the call.
Yeah, thank you.
She brought up a good point. There is insurance. Something that's very important if you rent, and this is something a lot of people don't think about, and it's very cheap. Renter's insurance to cover your contents.
Yes.
That way, if something happens, whether you have a fire, if you're living in an apartment complex, how many apartment fires have we seen so far this year?
A lot.
And
There's one in the apartments by my house just about 3 weeks ago.
Sure.
Yeah.
And so, the person you're renting from, your landlord, will have insurance to cover the structure and everything, but it's not going to cover your personal contents.
Yeah.
And that is something that is really important for you to do. Like I say, cost per month is very minimal on
It's real
renter's
minimal,
insurance.
and like all insurance, nobody really likes paying for it, but if you ever have to use it, you're going to be sure glad you did, and that's a really good point.
Yep. It is time to take a break. This is Home Repairs and Solutions right here on AM 560 KWTO. We'll be right back.
Well, I went down to the hardware store to see my old friend Bob. I said my roof it leaks, my rug's a mess, and my front door needs a new knob. I got squirrels in my attic, I got bats in my head. Well, Bob just leaned over the counter and he shook his head and said, "You need home repairs and solutions. Home repairs and solutions. They'll fix your windows, they'll fix your house, they'll even tell you how to get rid of a mouse. Home repairs and solutions."
Here's news on the Ozarks News Network. The Springfield City Utilities Board has approved an operating budget for 2013. The budget of just more than $530 million is $30 million less than last year. That's due to fewer employees. The board also approved water rate increases beginning in October of next year and again in October 2014 and 2015. A man has been found guilty of first-degree murder in the death of a Hillcrest High School student. Following a bench trial, 20-year-old James Duke was found guilty of shooting 18-year-old Cody Ray to death on the front porch of his North Springfield home in 2010. Jordan Martin is also charged in the case. And a drug sweep in Texas County has resulted in 41 arrests. The arrests capped off a 3-year investigation by the Sheriff's Office, the State Highway Patrol, and the South Central Drug Task Force. For the Ozarks News Network, I'm Arlen Summers.
It's time to play ball at Hammons Field with the Springfield Cardinals in their 8th season. As you would expect, we'll bring you Friday night fireworks, dollar brat nights, and new this year, dollar hot dog nights, and much more. The future of Cardinals baseball is right here, right now. Visit SpringfieldCardinals.com or call 417-863-2143 and get your tickets today. Escape to Cardinals baseball.
I'm Dr. Norman Shealy. Did you know how good Nature Blessed Tart Cherry Concentrate is for you? It contains fabulous antioxidants called ORACs, oxygen radical absorption. Nutritionists suggest you need 3,000 to 5,000 units a day. In 1 ounce of Nature Blessed Tart Cherry Concentrate, you get 3,622 units. Fabulous.
Available in the produce department at Summer Fresh, Price Cutter, Dillon's, Harder House, Woods, and Hy-Vee. Drink the best. Nature Blessed.
Join us Sunday, September 9th at 7 p.m. for the season finale of the Jane A. Myers Summer Carillon Concert Series, featuring Missouri State University Carolina's Jeremy Chessman performing The Sweet Sounds of the Bells. Bring your lawn chairs and blankets and join us on the grounds of Missouri State University's Meyer Library. Refreshments will be served throughout the concert. Tours of the Carillon will be held following the concert. For more information, call the Missouri State University College of Arts and Letters at 836-5247.
It will be partly sunny for today, the high 92, turning cloudy tonight, low 68. A couple of showers and a thunderstorm, otherwise times of clouds and sun and humid as we start the weekend tomorrow, high of 85, low of 70 for your Saturday night. A thunderstorm in spots, otherwise cloudy and humid as we head into Sunday, high of 82. More thunderstorms around as you head back to work on Monday. Monday's high back up to 90. I'm AccuWeather's Jason Lord.
Well, I went down to the hardware store to see my old friend Bob. I said my roof it leaks, my rug's a mess, and my front door needs a new knob. I got squirrels in my attic, I got bats in my head. Well, Bob just leaned over the counter and he shook his head and said, "You need home repairs and solutions. Home repairs and solutions. They'll fix your windows, they'll fix your house. They'll even tell you how to get rid of a mouse. Home Repairs and Solutions.
Welcome back to the second half of Home Repairs and Solutions show. It looks like we have a caller that's been holding, so we're going to go to Mike.
Hello, Mike.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning.
I had to pick you guys' brain about something here.
Okay.
I'm remodeling the house, and then I'm adding on to an outbuilding, and it doesn't have water to it. And I'm really considering using PEX for my water lines. What is your guys' opinion on that?
Oh, it's the only way to go, and I think most of your plumbers nowadays will tell you that it's the thing that most everybody's using. You know, I remember I was in the plumbing supply business, believe it or not, back a long time ago when they first started coming out with this polypropylene or whatever it was.
Uh-huh.
When it originally came on the market, there was a product called Quest, and it was a gray tubing. Quest was great, but Quest had a problem that if it ever caught on fire for some reason, if your house supposedly put off noxious gases and all this and that. So they pulled it for a while, but it was great stuff because I even did this when it first came out. I took a piece of it, filled it with water, capped both ends, put it in the freezer, and you couldn't break the stuff. Yeah. And now over the years, it has evolved to a great, great product. I don't know hardly any of the plumbers, still a few guys doing copper and stuff, but the majority of them, like in all of our new houses, they use the PEX, and I tell you what, it's great. It's just, unless you run a screw through it or something, you're not going to, you can't hurt the stuff. I mean, it very seldom will it ever freeze and bust. I don't think it probably would in this area. I highly recommend it.
Yeah, go ahead, Mike. Sorry.
No, I'm sorry. When it comes to fittings, I mean, you have shark bite. Now, I don't know if what I'm worried about is if underneath the house, if that shark bite really holds as well as the clamps do.
Well,
that's the only thing I'm worried about. I don't have any experience in it, so I'm just worried. It's the reason I'm asking you.
What I would recommend doing myself, now to my knowledge, the people that I've talked to that has used those fittings, they say they do fine. I would trust them just as much as I would a regular compression fitting or anything. But I think if I was going to do very much of it, I'd invest in one of the tools that what it will do is slip in the end of it. You crank her down and it expands that, slip your fitting in it and your clamp. And I tell you what, it's I think that would be, in my opinion, that'd be the best way to go. The shark bite fittings, as you call them, to my knowledge, they work fine. But I would, you might be able to go to one of the rental stores and even rent the tool to put the expanding fitting deals on them. But that would be my choice.
Yeah, I've heard, from what I understand now, the clamp tool is much cheaper than it was when they first came out.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
All right, well, I appreciate your opinion.
Well, you bet. Appreciate the call.
Uh-huh.
Thank you, Mike. So, Mary, you got something new that you're going to lay on us.
I do. You know, a lot of things change in construction. As we talk about on the show, we have all new different kind of products and new improved this and that and the other. And in heating and air conditioning, we've had a lot of changes in the last 10 years or so, even less. And we have some more changes that's going to come up very quickly that I would like to just kind of let our listeners know about so they can kind of be prepared for what's going on. But right now, we're not in the furnace season yet, but we're going to be shortly.
Right.
And right now, you can either purchase an 80% furnace or a 90% furnace. You have a choice of which type of furnace, if you need a new one, what you want to put in. That is quickly changing. One of the things that happened is back in 2007, the Congress passed the Energy Security and Independence Act. And so what that did is it gave the Department of Energy a precedent to set new standards for efficiencies in heating and air conditioning equipment particularly. So they've been working on this since 2007. And as you know, I think it was 2010, everything had to go to 13 SEER in air conditioning.
Right.
It was 10, it went to 13. So this is just another part of that bill that they've been working on for quite some time. So What this is going to do is what they did is they took the United States and they separated it into 3 different sections. You have a southeast, a south, and a north section. And Missouri is in the north section, according to the Department of Energy. So what they're going to do is they are changing the rules and regulations on heat pumps, furnaces, and air conditioners. Now, what's going to happen is an 80% furnace is a non-condensating furnace.
Mm-hmm.
And 90% is condensating. We put in a lot of 90%.
Right.
Most of the utility companies, if you're going to get a rebate, require that you put in a 90% furnace.
Mm-hmm.
But right now, you do have a choice of which one you want to put in. What's going to happen is what they're changing is the efficiencies for heat pumps. And, heat pump provides both heating and cooling.
Right.
Right now, the minimum efficiency on a heat pump is 13. It's going to go to 14 for the entire country. So they're going to raise the minimum efficiencies on heat pumps.
Mm-hmm.
That's the first thing they're going to do. As far as air conditioners, they're going to leave that at 13 for people in Missouri. So that's going to remain the same. You're not going to have to worry about that. But on furnaces, as of May 1st, 2013, in the state of Missouri, you will have to put in a 90-plus furnace.
No choice. That's
No
what
choice.
You gotta do.
It's going to be 90-plus. They've already told us, our manufacturer, our distributor and everything's already told us that, of course, when you don't have a choice and you're forced to buy one product, what happens to the price of that product?
Yeah, tends to go
I'm going
up
to guess
a
it's
little
going
bit.
to go up.
Yeah,
Take a
Yeah.
wild guess at
kind of
that.
like you, Ron.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you're right about that. So what we've been doing is we've been, and I put out a newsletter to all of our clients in the spring and the fall. And this fall, this newsletter is going to go out, and just want everyone to be aware that this change is coming. Now, that might not seem like a big deal, but oftentimes when you're putting in a 90% opposed to an 80%, you might have to make some modifications
Right.
to whether or not that's going to work. So it's not going to be as simple as just taking the old furnace out and putting the new one back in place. It takes a different flue pipe. 80% has a metal flue. 90% has a PVC pipe.
Right.
Sometimes in a lot of places you'll see that the hot water heater and the furnace is vented together through the same pipe.
Right.
So that's a different issue. Some other things that might happen is that you might have just to find another place to put the furnace altogether. There's all kinds of different issues that will come into play. If you live in the North region, which we do here in Missouri, according to their time frame, there's 3 issues that might arise when you want to put in a 90% versus an 80%. Most homes have limited space for furnaces, and a condensating furnace requires different space. There's different regulations for the exhaust on one. There is, since I said a 90% is a condensating furnace, so you have to have a water disposal situation for that. So there could be lots of things that might affect the construction of your home to get one of these 90% furnaces in. So for this year, you'll be okay if you want to put in an 80%, but I just want to let our listeners, let them know and be aware of this situation, that if they're looking to put a new furnace in, if they have one that's older, they might want to consider doing that now as opposed to waiting. Because if you wait until after, as of May 1st, you no longer have a choice. And the reason they're doing that, just kind of interesting, they gave us some interesting statistics on it, because sometimes, as consumers, we get annoyed, with all these new regulations and changes, and we don't have choices, and we don't why in the heck are they doing this? Why are they doing that? Here's the reason they're doing this, and this is to all their the calculations for the Department of Energy. It says that ACE for the air conditioner and the new heat pump standards. This is the reason for doing all this, that we will save about 156 billion. That's billion with a B. Kilowatt hours of electricity over 30 years, or roughly enough to power 8.7 million typical homes for 1 year. So that's the reason they're doing that. The furnace standards, changing the furnace standards, according to their calculations, will save about 31 billion therms of natural gas over 32 years, or about enough gas to heat 62 million homes for 1 year. And so it's all about energy savings. It's all about, trying to make things more efficient.
Right.
A 90% efficient furnace is very efficient. It does reduce the cost of your utilities. You will have a choice as far as 90%. You can get a straight 90% two-stage, or 90% two-stage with a variable speed furnace.
Right.
But you're still only going to have the choice of one efficiency.
Right.
So unless they come up with something else, right now we have efficiencies in furnaces up to 96%. So that's pretty darn efficient. I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if you'll ever have a 100% efficient furnace. I don't know if they're working on something like that. But sometimes when these changes come up and consumers aren't aware of it, and maybe they've put something off, and then they want to replace their old furnace, and we have to say, I'm sorry, we can't put that back in. You have to purchase this product. It can be frustrating.
Sure.
And by the way, since you have to have this product, you're going to have to. We have to put it in this location, which means you have to move the gas line, you have to move the electric. So the cost really compounds.
Yeah. Duct work that could affect,
Exactly.
Yeah.
We have to resize the duct work. We might have to install new. We might have to move it. So that's not always the case, but it's absolutely the possibility that it could happen. And so we just like to make people aware of that. And I know that you're in building.
Sure.
So I wanted to let you know that too. I didn't know if you knew that yet.
No.
I didn't figure you did.
Know that. Appreciate
Even
knowing
though
that.
you do put 90% in your homes at this point.
Yes,
So
we started doing that. And
that's good.
Jeremy, that will be on our show
Energy
here,
Wise,
Energy Wise, he come out to our houses and kind of coached us on things that we could do to save energy. And one thing is put the 90+ furnace in.
Yes.
And so we started doing that, and I'm glad we have. And now, hey, we're not going to have no choice in another year. You
Correct.
say May 1st, 2013. That's going to go into effect. So yeah, if you have an existing house that's 20, 25 years old, and your furnace is about to go out, and you're like, oh, I'll get it another year, we'll get out of it. You better make that investment right now and go ahead and change that out, unless you want to go to all the problems. And it's probably not a bad deal to go with that higher efficiency furnace. But, what they need to do is have Spring Mountain Air come out and look at it and say, yeah, we can go back with the 80% or whatever right now, because a 90 is really going to cause you some problems when we install it. So you guys get free estimates.
We do.
So
and in some instances, we can go ahead and put the 90 back with just a few modifications.
Right.
And we do that a lot too, but it's just something that the consumers need to be aware of. That's coming up, and May might seem like a long ways off, but it'll be here pretty quickly.
Oh gosh, yeah.
And so that's something that you can just be aware of, and that way kind of help you plan. The upside of this whole situation is that if you're going to buy a newer home, or if you're building a home, it's definitely going to be more energy efficient.
Yeah.
Because there's not going to be choices, and it is going to help keep maybe your energy costs down, assuming the energy costs remain the same, which we know how that works too.
Oh, yeah.
But
Yeah.
still, either way, it's going to be more efficient than some of the equipment that is available today.
Yep, you're right.
So that's the upside of that. So
in the long run, it doesn't sound like this is necessarily a bad thing. It's just for the people who happen to replace existing ones.
Correct.
It might be kind of a headache for them, but as a whole, for new constructions, it won't be as big of a deal because they're building from the ground up. But in the long run, it sounds again like with the amount of energy savings that we'd be having, it sounds like a good thing, but sometimes with change can be a little headache.
It can be, and especially if you're not expecting it.
Yeah.
So we try to make people aware of it so that, like I said, they can use it for planning. If someone has a furnace, like Mark said, and it's, 15, 20 years old, okay, you're probably getting close to the end of the life cycle of that furnace. So, right now you have the option of putting 80 or 90% in. If you wait another year, you're not going to have that option. So you can just be aware of that.
Yep. That's a good thing to pass along. Appreciate that. That's why the folks need to talk to Jens over at Spring Mountain Air.
Sure, and if they have any questions about that, or if they want to know, more about what's going on, or not sure what they should do, of course they can give us a call. And if they want a free estimate, we do that. Not a problem. We can send someone out and take a look at your situation and help you make a good decision on what you want to do. If you're looking to maybe move in 6 months or so, and you have an older furnace. I know one of the things that is checked a lot, we're checking one today as a matter of fact, when you get ready to sell your home, they want to make sure that the furnaces are working properly and that the air conditioning is working properly. So you might be better off if you have to replace that. Then you have the option of putting 80% versus a 90% back in a home you're getting ready to sell.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and something else that we got.
Yes.
I just have lots of information this week.
You do.
People who live in Springfield or are clients of city utilities, they sent us out a letter saying that once again this year they are going to give rebates for people who have their furnaces, have a preseason tune-up on their furnaces.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the requirements have changed. Some of the things that need to be done when someone comes out and does that. There's specific things that need to be listed on the invoice and different things like that was not required last year. So we have all those requirements. We know what they're wanting to do. It's stuff that we do normally anyway. Mm-hmm. So it's not a big issue for Spring Mountain Air to come out and do that. But they are going to give a $30 rebate.
Really?
That's how important it is to make sure your furnace is working properly. You don't have any leaks. You don't have any cracked heat exchangers. So for the utility company to want to give a rebate to make sure that those are operating safely is a pretty good deal. They used to give it on the air conditioners, and they discontinued the air conditioners. I'm not sure why. Maybe because it sits outside, or because there's not a gas element involved with the air conditioner. But you do, if you have a natural gas furnace, it's a rebate on a natural gas furnace, and that starts September 1st and goes through November 30th. So you have about 60 days to get that done in order to get the rebate. But if someone comes out and is going to do that for you, ask them if they're aware of the rebate situation and make sure that they're qualified to get you that rebate.
Right. And it's amazing. Just like what the other evening when Nathan was out at our house, that we was one of our new houses, and he mentioned to me, "Did you get your rebates on this furnaces?" And I'm like, "No, we didn't know about it." And there's, you'd be surprised the amount of rebates that's available from different, just like these from city utilities, on the furnaces. Insulation you get from city utilities again.
Yes.
Nice little rebate. It's not much, but hey, every little bit helps. If you increase the amount of insurance the amount of insulation in the attic. There's several things as a homeowner that you can do that can help you get a little bit off that utility bill. Trust me, every little bit helps.
Sure, and that's true. City Utilities does have rebates available for new construction. A lot of people do not know that.
Right.
So if you're a builder out there, you're building houses in that utility usage area, and you're not getting your rebates, you probably need to give Spring Mountain Air a call because you're missing out on some money.
Absolutely.
And you can get that for up to 6 houses. So you can take the rebates, multiply it times 6. It's a pretty nice little chunk of money.
Yes, it is.
That you might as well put back in your pocket. If you're a homeowner building your new house, you might want to make sure that the equipment you're putting in qualifies for the rebates. If you're interested in that, there's some money out there for multi-family usage. There's some rebates available for that. So there's different things out there that's not widely publicized, but that are available. So make sure that you talk with a professional who knows what's going on, who's keeping up with that kind of thing, and don't miss out on something that you're entitled to.
And if you're outside the city, you're not on city utilities, check with your utility provider, where it be one of the electric co-ops, Empire, Ozark, whoever you may be on. Check with them to see what kind of rebates are available. I know there's rebates on water heaters, electric water heaters, or there was, and so when you pay that electric bill, think about that. Think, hey, I need to ask them if there's any rebates, because we're going to have to put a new water heater in, or we're going to have to put a new furnace in. I want to know what kind of rebate we can get. So be sure and ask them.
That's true. A lot of outlying utility companies do. They don't all offer rebates on everything. Some of them are limited. Some are just for heat pumps. Some are just for natural gas furnaces. But they all have different requirements to meet that rebate.
Absolutely. And check with them if you're thinking about building. And like you say, you're going to basically be your own contractor, do it yourself. Check with them, or ask your builder, say, hey, will you check and see if there's anything that qualifies for rebates, so we can talk about putting that product in our house instead of something else.
Correct.
So the more education you get, the better off you are.
Absolutely. Yep. And we hope that we educate people on our show. We try to.
We do. We try to.
We try to.
That's right.
Give them good information and make sure that they can get everything that they have coming to them to help them out.
That's right. And speaking of educating, Ron, how can people get a hold of you so you can educate them?
Well, I'd be happy to educate some people. There's several ways to get a hold of us. You can go to the HartmanGroupRealEstate.com. That's our website. Or you can give me a call on my cell phone. It's 417-766-3559. Be happy to answer anybody's real estate questions, or if they're interested in buying or selling a home, just have them give me a call. That number again is 417-766-3559.
Great. Easy to get a hold of you. And your mom worked countless hours. I see you in there in the office all the time. What was it the other night? I came in the office, and it was like 7 or 8 o'clock on a Friday or Saturday night, and there's Ron in there working. I'm like, something's wrong with this picture, Both of us here on a Saturday night, instead of out doing other things. But
but hey, that's part of the business, and
that's right.
Happy to do that for the clients.
You just do a great job. I appreciate everything that you guys do.
Well, thank you. It helps when we have good people to work with.
Yeah,
and absolutely. I meant you, Mark, actually.
Oh well, thank you, Ron. We do go out sometimes. Ron will say, "Hey, I found a house that has been foreclosed on. Hey, let's go look at it." And we'll go out, we'll look, and kind of get an idea of what it's going to cost to rehab that house. See if it's something that, and we're eventually going to get one of these days where we're both working. Actually, we both own it
once we find the house.
But it's really interesting, and I really value Ron's opinion on things because he's out there looking at this stuff all the time, and I'm kind of out on new construction more than anything. So Ron educates me on some of this stuff, and I kind of know some about what the construction is going to cost on it, and it's fun. And so I always appreciate when I get to go out with Ron and look at houses.
Well, it's always good to have two people look instead of one, because someone might miss something, the other one will catch it, and so
there's many times when that happens.
Oh, sure, absolutely.
Yeah,
because y'all have expertise in different areas.
Yep.
Yeah. So you're going to look, you're going to be more prone to find something in the area that you're the expert in,
right?
As opposed to something that you're not, and you might miss something. So
that's true.
That makes perfectly good sense to me.
Well, when it comes to houses, especially your older houses, you can't see everything. There's always things. There's a term for it, hidden something or other. I forget.
Treasures.
Yeah, well, very seldom I ever find a hidden treasure, but there's always things that you can't see. Defects.
Hidden material defects.
There you go. I ought to know that. I'm trying to brush up on my real estate terms. But there's always things that you can't see, and a lot of times, taking somebody else with you, they will notice that. But we can't see what's behind the walls. And,
well, no.
If we could.
I'm still working on that X-ray vision. I'll let you know once I get it worked out.
Once you get that, okay.
You'd think with technology, someone would come up with that by now.
Well, just kind of a quick note. I did have a home inspector that I use quite often. He just got a new thermal heat camera.
Yes.
To where they can see if the water's leaking by the heat signature it gives off or where the hot part is. It's pretty neat.
Pretty handy.
Yeah. Been fun having you on, Ron.
Well, I've always enjoyed coming here. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming back. Thanks for listening, everyone. If you need a free estimate or have a question about your heating and air, you can call Spring Mountain Air. We'll be happy to help you out. Our number is 831-4036.
Or if you want to buy a new house or have us build you one,
there you go.
Give me a call at 838-3192. I'd love to talk to you about that. So
there we go.
Yep. This is Home Repairs and Solutions. We're heard every Friday morning from 10 to 11 right here on AM 560 KWTO.
Just call Home Repairs and Solutions. Home Repairs and Solutions. They'll fix your windows, they'll fix your house. They'll even tell you how to get rid of a mouse. Home Repairs and Solutions.